Good afternoon, everyone. This is G, and I'm back with another video. This should probably be quick, but then again, I always say that, and it's never quick, so who knows. Anyway, I hope you're all well. As you can see in the corner here, RJ is taking a little nap, which makes sense. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon here in the city, and it's about his nap time. As most cats do, he sleeps a lot during the day and runs around like a mad little thing at night. But anyway, I just wanted to just give, as usual, my brief, I hope it's brief, commentary on something stupid said on Twitter. And I have to give props to Richard Meyer, Diversity in Comics, or rather Comics Matter now. He's always going to be DNC to me. But it was from his video that I saw this tweet from Patrick Zilcher, who goes by Patch on Twitter. So he's a comic artist, you know, and again, you know, it's a lot of the usual suspects, though I don't think any of them are smart enough to play Kaiser Soze. But anyway, he says here, among many things, that anyone in Comicsgate hoping to draw comics as a career is choosing a strange way to go about it, alienating themselves from 95% of comics publishers. What I find funny about him saying this is, one, the way he says that Comicsgate alienated themselves from comics publishers. He provides no proof. And we all know that in the internet era of receipts, right? If you have proof for your argument, you provide said proof, right? But what I find interesting is that he says that Comicsgate alienated themselves from 95% of comics publishers. Last I checked, Antarctic Press was going to publish Jawbreakers until Mark Waid, and this was comments he made on Twitter, it's a public forum, until Mark Waid put out tweets saying that he was going to call people, right? He was going to call people at Antarctic Press and talk to them. And he even put out a tweet back then stating that he had called and that he had spoken to someone there at Antarctic Press. This was, you know, huge back in, 2018, because Antarctic Press ended up dropping Jawbreakers. And of course now Richard, Zach, whatever you want to call him, is suing Mark Waid for tortious interference. And just recently we saw that Dynamite was going to publish Cecil's cover, right? The cash grab cover with Vampirella on the left and Red Sonja on the right, giving Cecil's character a big old booby hug, right? Until, you know, the pros, the unprofessional professionals in the mainstream comic industry decided to voice their concerns and say that they were going to not work with Dynamite anymore. And of course, Gail Simone turning her back on the guy who runs Dynamite, right? And still, although Dynamite ended up not publishing that cover, which, you know, was over $10,000 raised, so that's 10 grand they missed out on, right? Or close to 10 grand, I should say. That they missed out on. The comics pros are still angry at Dynamite, and at least from what Ethan has said, he's not going to work with them anymore either, so he says. Whether he'll hold to that, I have no idea, but that's what he said. And of course, many people within Comicsgate will probably not work with them either, whether or not Ethan does or doesn't, because of what they did. Again, all of this takes place in a public space. Twitter is not private. These are not private DMs. So I find it interesting that he talks about how Comicsgate alienated themselves from 95% of comics publishers, but it's the comics pros who keep putting pressure on the publishers to act a certain way. And unfortunately, these publishers do act the way the pros want them to. They drop the Comicsgate project at least some of the time. And guess what happens? It's the publishing house, Antarctic Press, Dynamite, and many others, who end up suffering in the end. The pros don't suffer. Their paychecks aren't getting hit. Their work is still getting put out. It's not Comicsgate that suffers because the book still gets out, right? When Antarctic Press, what I'm looking for, dropped Jawbreakers, Zach found another publishing house. He didn't publicize it once he found a new one. He never said who it was, which was smart on his part, right? But the book got published, it got printed, it got sent out. I had 2 copies. And then I lost them because I have terrible luck. But I had 2 copies, so obviously the books got out. He's done many campaigns since then, and the books are getting out. Here's the thing. It's not that Comicsgate needs the professional industry. It's the professional industry that needs Comicsgate, right? But again, they just want to keep feeding themselves these lies. It's like they keep wanting to, they think as if they keep saying something, it'll just make it true. It's like holding your hand out and going, I want $1 million. I want $1 million. I'm a millionaire. I want $1 million. Well, guess what happens? People talk about speaking things into existence, but yeah, the reality of it is that you can't make $1 million, but it's trying to speak it into existence, right? And you can't try to speak this boogeyman hate group into existence, at least calling Comicsgate that, just by speaking it. I guess it's the phrase that if you say a lie enough times and enough people believe it, that it becomes the truth. And maybe if everybody were lockstep, that would be the case. But there are plenty of channels. Mine is just one of many that points out the hypocrisy from the pros. So you have an active audience pushing back on this narrative, right? But if they want to keep living in fear of the boogeyman that is Jawbreakers and Cyberfrog and Cash Grab and all the other projects, well then let them. Let them. But I just find it funny that he said this, that it was Comicsgate alienating themselves. No, Patrick. What it was the pros acting like the mob, right? Nice comics publishing house you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it. Be a shame if you allied with the other side and we just talked everybody into walking away. That'd be a real shame, wouldn't it? Right? It's like basically demanding protection money, except that the mainstream industry are a mob, a mafia, that are demanding allegiance. An allegiance that's just going to lead to the poorhouse. Again, Antarctic Press did not benefit in any way from not publishing Jawbreakers. All it did was it didn't help their bottom line. They didn't get any more work, and now they've been dragged into a lawsuit they didn't need. Dynamite is currently suffering, right? They're not going, the pros are not going to forgive them or reward them for dropping Cecil, right, or other Comicsgate projects or whatnot. You're dealing with an unforgiving brand of people, right? They do not forget, they do not forgive, and most importantly, they don't create a product that makes money. It's basically 2 options. You can either stay on the Titanic, on the sinking ship that is the mainstream industry, or you can, go with for all the drama Comicsgate has, at least some of their creators are making money and getting product out there and pleasing most of their customers. Or you can try to say, look, I don't like you guys, I'm just gonna be on my own side, and that's fine too. But Patch is wrong. Patrick Zilcher is wrong when he said that Comicsgate alienated themselves. It's not that Comicsgate alienated themselves from publishers. It's that the mainstream pros keep intimidating the publishers And the publishers sadly have no spine. They have no spine. They don't have the cojones to stand up for themselves when they are unjustly under attack. So that's the real problem here. But if you look through Zilcher's Twitter, you'll see, the usual tweets about how Comicsgate is attracted to or attractive to white supremacy and all this other stuff, right? There's another tweet he has here. I'm looking for it now, right? And then he says, "Oh, there are only 3 things that bother me about Comicsgate. The bigots within the group. You could name one. Try naming one. The white supremacists attracted to them. Again, where's your proof? Any established comics pros look the other way regarding 1 and 2 and identifies with them." And again, so I think it was AL who said it in one of my videos that these type of tweets are more about intimidating pros in the industry and, telling them there's a price that you're going to pay if you go Comicsgate or become Comicsgate adjacent than if you really are Comicsgate. I just find this just very funny and very sad because the pros keep saying, we don't care about Comicsgate, we don't care about Comicsgate. Yet the only thing these supposed professionals who supposedly have work to do can talk about is Comicsgate. It's like, what's that old saying? That if you claim to hate someone, but you're following everything that they do, but you're really a fan? Something to that effect. But anyhow, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.